John Doyle, a conservative YouTuber, illuminates on controversial socialist topics that conservatives fail to combat correctly. The majority of his argument is based on logos, with a reason-based ethos, and lastly, pathos to persuade his audience to fight. His audience is directed towards misinformed right-wing affiliated persons. Because of who is his target audience, that lays groundwork for the content of his argument, being to correct common misconceptions about liberal and conservative ideologies. Doyle's first criticism is the failure to address the issues that might compel someone to be Marxist. His first argument sets up for socialist appeals to utopian-type society among economic classes. This section of the video is mostly appealing to logos, as he presents real-world scenarios that lure young generations towards socialism and away from capitalism. His first piece of evidence is a headline titled, 1% of the population grabbed 82% of all wealth created in 2017. Although this is logos, it is also a fact that sways the emotions out of envy. He follows up on the piece of evidence by giving a losing argument from a conservative who would say something along the lines of, "That's just your fault, you aren't working hard enough." Doyle's advised response is, "You're an American. We love you and we are going to do whatever it takes to facilitate the best quality of life for you and your family." And he calls that a winning argument, saying that Trump talked that way during his run for the 2016 election. The argument here is appealing to pathos, as these are political statements and their intentions are to sway people to vote for them. Up to this point, in Doyle's argument, it appeals towards logos and ethos, which then works hand in hand to make a persuasive pathos addition to the argument. This makes for a strong and compelling case. The weak point in his argument is his assumption that though a competitive market makes the most sense, not everyone will believe in and support that ideology. He claims that a competitive market would work best because economic equality is impossible, claiming that there will always be someone that has it better and there is no way to obtain true and complete equality. He redeems his credibility with his argument about our inability to choose who our parents are, which ultimately decides our starting point in life, which will always vary. Doyle builds further into the socialist urge to control life. He claims they seek to liberate human beings from all constraints, including things imposed by nature. His examples for these claims are abortion and gender theory. He doesn't try to debunk these ideologies, but rebutes them with a scenario. His situation consists of two people that build houses. One is massive and the other is small, similar to a bungalow. The only difference is the tools that were available to the builders, where the builder with the bigger house had much better tools and greater resources. He uses this inequality as an example of how envious people are enticed to socialism on the grounds of envy and dissatisfaction of the quality of their life, and their solution is to bring everyone to the same level and attempts to alter life itself. He understands that it is human to desire and covet, and he doesn't blame people for turning to socialism when presented with similar situations, and conservatism just tells them to work harder. The two appeals in these arguments are pathos and ethos. The emotional connection comes from his understanding of the frustration within people in an unfair environment. It seems like he is playing both sides, but he is just trying to see through the newcomer socialist, which establishes a formidable credibility as there is a greater understanding of the entirety of the situation. One last appeal that worked against his overall argument was lack of specificity, where he just showed off headlines of articles and not giving access to viewers to review the information for themselves. John Doyle's argument is not one to forget. It has a significant impact from its rhetorical appeals. Although his logos lacks in specificity, the facts are still there to work hand in hand with his understanding for socialists who have been let down by conservatism. His argument sits well because the purpose in its entirety is to inform other conservatives on what they need to do better, and he lays that out well with hard facts and an empathetic appeal to fight for what they believe in.